Welcome to The Good Pod, where today we'll be talking The Good Wife, Season 2, Episode 9, 9 Hours. I am one of your hosts, Tracy Reed. With me, as always, my co-host, Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
I'm good. You good?
I am great. Fantastic. Listen, I love me a good, ticking clock episode where we got a objective we got to meet in a certain amount of time, and we're all kind of running around trying to get it done.
It really keeps the pace of the episode going much faster, and one thing into another. It's like a little bit of a snowball of a plot. So yeah, we've got a lot. And this one, even though it's has one focus being, getting a man off of death row, getting Carter right off of death row. Oh, I like how the episode sprinkles in some of the other storylines that we've been talking about. So it'll be great to talk to you about it. But before we do, can we talk about an email we got from Tracy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Tracy, thank you so much for emailing. I love it so much. I love that you gave me a shout out for Stationery Fest. Stationery Fest was so fun. I hope that there's another one. And if there is and you can make it, it'd be great to meet other pod people. Not like that, but
Tracy, we love that you're a fellow nerd.
Oh my gosh.
For stationery.
Yes. And also she wrote about Jet Pens in the email, which is a stationery website. So if you're also into stationery, love it. Just wanted to, I appreciate the kind words you sent to us about the podcast. And this episode particularly has a very famous character actor, which you had mentioned in your email, saying that the actors that we don't know the names of are usually character actors. I will say sometimes that is true for me, but most times it's because my memory is really bad and I don't know people's names.
Listen, Marissa, we heard for the last episode, we know that you got some brain issues. You got some. You don't imagination. Now you don't have a good memory. Oh man, things are happening.
Yeah, I mean, don't get old, people. The imagination thing was always in my life, though. The memory thing might be age related, but we do have a character actor, which we will talk about in this episode. So I wanted to just give you a shout out for properly timing this email that came in. But we love getting emails from people. Especially with fun shout outs like that. So thank you so much, Tracy, for writing in. Yeah, and also for sharing your disdain for Peter, which I also share with you very, very much.
Yeah, you both have a hot white hatred of Peter, which listen, I'm not a Peter fan. I just want to make that clear.
You love Peter. That's what I heard. That's what you said in your 2518 before the podcast.
Yeah, so I don't like Peter either. I feel my hate for Peter is not as visceral as your hate for Peter. So you and Tracy share the visceral hatred of Peter, which I love that for you guys. You guys love stationery and you hate Peter. You and Tracy, two peas in a pod.
Yep. So thanks for reaching out, Tracy, and thanks for listening, and thanks to everyone who listens who doesn't necessarily reach out, but we love you nonetheless.
Yes, of course. Listen, if you want to reach out, if you want to correspond with us, there's several ways to do that. If you want to write in an email like Tracy did, you can always email us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. That's one way to do it. You can also interact with us by reviewing, rating, and subscribing to this podcast. Wherever you're listening, wherever you are watching, if you're watching us, there are ways that you can rate this podcast either with a thumbs up on YouTube or you can give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. On Apple, you can also leave us a written review, which we love to read and we love to see. If you're on YouTube, you leave us YouTube comments, which we will interact with if you leave us comments. So there are so many ways that you can show how much you like this show, and how, if you want to have any questions or any comments for us, there are several ways to do that. And we appreciate all those ways, because all those ways help us get into the eyes and ears of more people. So thank you so much. Marissa, let's get into the case. This was a very complex and very kind of involved case we got here.
Yes. Yeah. Usually I'm breaking the plot down into a couple of sections. This one, we're just going to go from start to finish because there's a lot that interplays with each other. Before we do, I do just want to mention that this is a highly rated episode on IMDb with good reason, I could see. And this is also the last show of 2010 before they went on winter break and returned in 2011. Yes. So we are ending an era of the 2010s in our coverage. But this episode starts with it's morning at the Florix, at the Florix residence, and we learn some things. Alicia is having some will dreams.
Ooh,
Like
baby.
she
Uh,
is is not suffering from aphantasia. She has a very active
yeah.
imagination.
Listen, 2518, Marissa, are you able to dream? Like, is that part of your condition?
Oh,
Can you
I
dream?
can dream. I very rarely remember my dreams, but I can dream. And then sometimes dreams come back as like deja vu. So like
Oh,
I won't be able to tell you what my dream was, but I'll be like, oh, I've been here before or I've done this before. And that's
interesting.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
fascinated with your brain condition. I love that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine not being able to like vividly imagine things happening. Oh, anyway,
Yeah, Alicia was definitely
oh,
like
Alicia was
vividly
having
imagining.
this was extremely vivid, complete with pants and moans and all sorts of things.
And like it's like going in and out. And we also learned she's having this dream in bed by herself.
Yeah, this answers some questions I think we were kind of wondering. Like, what is the bed situation with her and Peter? Are we back to sharing a bed? Are we still in separate? Is Peter still in the maid's quarters? So I think Peter is still chilling in the maid's quarters at this point in time.
For sure. And Grace's friend knocks on the door. Shannon, I believe is her name.
Shannon,
Yes?
yep.
Yeah. Shannon needs to use the bathroom because the other bathroom is clogged. I'm looking at you, Zach. Um, like,
No, I think
so
it was Peter. It was definitely Peter.
um she's like Alicia's like such in a daze haze, just like, yeah, go ahead, like use the bathroom. I don't whatever. They go
this
to
this
have
brings
breakfast.
back like sorry, 2518. This brings back
Yeah.
like specific like memories for me, like having to interact with my friends' moms. Of
Yes.
like if you're ever sleeping over someone's house, you like have to like do something like to ask their mom is so weird. It's like
Yeah.
like Shannon's like, Miss Ford, can I use your personal bathroom? Because this other one, like to do like for me was so anxiety inducing. Like, you want me to go talk to your mother like by myself? Like
Without
I
you?
can't
Yeah.
do that. Like I need you to be there as my mouthpiece to ask for permission for me. I can't talk to your parent on my own. Are you crazy?
How could you suggest such a thing?
Right. As if
Well,
we're
and
peers? Like if I'm their child? No way, man. No way.
this has to be like winter break or something, right? Like because
Or the
they
weekend,
don't
just like
go
a,
to
a weekend
yeah,
sleepover. Yeah.
but there's like we'll find out later. This is the day of Peter's debate, and I
Mm.
like usually like debates aren't on the weekends, so I don't know. Like
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
there's something, like there's a reason for a sleepover, and Shannon is there for the whole episode,
Yeah.
so they are definitely not going to school.
Shannon is here making breakfast for some reason. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah, like and making apparently like to die for French toast.
Some
Like,
bomb ass French toast that everybody wants.
do you like French toast?
I'm not a French toast person. As I have shared before, I'm an extremely picky eater, and French toast is like too complex for me. Like I like syrup and I like toast, but like I ain't putting them together. Isn't that that's what French toast is, right? Or am I just like crazy?
French toast is yeah, but it's like bread soaked in egg batter, and
Yeah,
so there's egg on it's that it is quite a texture experience.
yeah.
So like
It's too much for me. Too much is going on. It's not plain enough for me. I like plain things. I like
understood.
yeah. I can't do it.
Well, everyone is loving this French toast, and Grace is asking Alicia, "Can I go to Jamboree? It's like not what you think it is, but it's like a prayer group for people." And I'm like,
She's
"Oh
like,
my god!"
you don't even have to believe like this. You don't have to. And so like as we get into this episode, like I want like this episode was so interesting because it treated religion like drugs like in a way like I
Yes,
don't like as we
yes.
go through the episode and talk about it and like Mercer we 2518 we know how you feel about drugs
Oh my
but
god, Jason!
it treats
One
religion.
time, I say something. One time.
I will use it against you every time. I have a great memory. But like
Oh,
the way that this episode in particular treated religion it was so funny to me. Like people use the word LOL a lot. I literally laughed out loud when things were happening involving religion in this episode. We'll talk about it as it gets there, but just like this was the start of it, where Grace like, "Look, you don't have to believe in it. Like I'm not saying I believe in it. I just want to go like hang out with Shannon at this thing."
yeah, I think that's a great analogy because of everything that the show explores, it is saying like, hey, there are more dangers for kids than drugs. And this is how one of them is starting in a
Yeah.
way. Also, everyone is whispering at the table because it is Peter's debate night, and Eli wants everyone to whisper so that Peter can sleep. So we should be whispering this whole
And
time.
Eli mysteriously absent for this whole episode.
Yeah, no, he's like making orders, but not there.
Yeah.
We learn that there is a man who will be executed for the murder of his wife and her boyfriend unless the firm's appeal works. And Alicia's sitting there with like a bunch of papers and a picture and things like that. So that's what she's working on. And in the middle of breakfast, she gets a call from the Seventh Circuit judge, which is like big news the day of an execution.
The judge's clerk, not the
I mean, clerk. Yeah. The Seventh Circuit clerk. And Alicia takes the phone, goes to her room, and the clerk is asking, like, "Hey, will you be filing an addendum? Like, I just want to know, right? Like, you'll be filing an addendum, right?" And Alicia's like, "Wait, can you say that again?" Like, yeah, I just want to know if you'll be filing an addendum.
File an addendum. File an addendum. You need to file. There should be an addendum you will be filing. I should be expecting that from you, right? Because you definitely should be filing one. Like, huh?
Like, Alicia does a great job of like, yeah, totally gonna do that. Let me get some details and phone you back. Like, this whole episode has a lot of the phone. There's lots of phone. Let me phone you back. I'll phone you in the hour. Lots of phone. Alicia phones Will, who is like driving somewhere in Indiana. I don't know.
Somewhere. I don't know what Will was up to. It was just like he's got his like midlife crisis car. He's like it's going like a midlife crisis like retreat. I don't know what he's doing. He's in his like cadge clothes. And listen, it's not a ticking clock episode if we don't have a schlubby Will, right? Every time we have these situations, like Will is unshaven, he's got his casual clothes on, like that's how we know we're in a ticking clock episode, because Will is caught off guard. He hasn't shaved for the day, he hasn't dressed for the day. His off, like, I wish we would have known where Will was going, because I was very curious about what he was up to.
It was not close to the Chicago metropolitan area, I can tell you that much. But it was close enough for him to turn around and get back to the firm at some point. So I don't know. He was.
Oh, this was a Saturday. This was a Saturday.
This was a Saturday. Yeah, exactly.
Says, yeah, I'll see who I can get on a Saturday to come back to the office. Right. So yes, and this was a weekend sleepover for Shannon and friends.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. So Will was supposed to be off the grid, but Alicia's like, yeah, nothing's wrong. I just got this call from the Seventh Circuit clerk, and he wants to know like about this addendum. He's like, wait, let me pull. Showing good safety while talking on the phone, pulls over. It's like, wait, what did he say exactly? Like, tell me what's going on.
This is before we had Bluetooth integrated into cars, because Will puts his 2010 Bluetooth headset in, like a very time capsule moment of him putting in his big old Bluetooth headset. Like,
true,
because at first he answers like, "What? Like, I told you it's off the grid." And Alicia's like, "It's me, Will." He's like, "Oh, Alicia.
Oh, it's you.
I thought it was work." Oh, I mean, it is work, but it's Alicia, so it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, well, this might be a chance to do something. I'm gonna phone Diane, and I'll get back to you. So Diane is at the jail visiting Carter. This man is being held in Indiana on Indiana death row. She goes, picks up her phone. She's like, wait, what does this mean? Like, what did she do? And like, Alicia did everything right. They just want to like get more information.
Alicia's like, Will tells Diane Alicia did, and Diane's like, "Good girl." Like,
yeah, that was
so weird. They do that every now and then, like, "Good girl." Like, wasn't she a dog? Like, okay, weird, but all right. And like, I love that everyone knew what this meant. Of like, he asked me if I was filing an addendum. He's like, "Wait, you sure you said addendum and not amendment?"
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows, like, okay, like this is big time. This is something is going down. Like, we should have caught something, or we have an opportunity to catch something. We got to figure out what this addendum is supposed to be about.
Yes. Meanwhile, Kalinda, en route, arrives at Alicia's. Zach is so Zach in this episode, because
not Marissa. I'm going to give Zach a pass. Because listen,
is Kalinda.
If Kalinda show up at my door, I might be acting like Zach, and I am very much older than Zachary at this age is. So I'm gonna cut Zach some slack,
Oh,
okay?
like, you work with my mom?
Like, you work with my
You,
mom? Oh,
you
I
work
gotta
with
be a
my
lawyer.
mom?
You? So yeah, I throughout the whole episode, I'm gonna give Zach a
All
pass
right,
because
all
I'm
right.
Mercy, you should too because
It's pretty funny. It's pretty
we,
funny.
we
It
all
is
know
pretty
you.
funny.
We all
Yeah.
know you love
Oh
teenagers,
no, no,
so
no! I
you
love
should be
that.
fine with Zach. Um,
Yeah,
but
this
yeah,
is the danger of recording back-to-back episodes with Jason Reed. Like, just FYI.
yes, but if Kalinda showed up at my door today, I'd be the same realm as Zach. Like, what's up, girl? Hey,
It's like, well, and Zach is like on like door duty like the entire day after
yeah,
this. He's like, I'm gonna get the door every single time. Um, Diane and Will are on the phone. This is like we didn't have. I mean, there was three-way calling, but like there's so many phones going on. Like Alicia and
Mhm.
no, Kalinda, Will, and Diane are on Kalinda's phone, and coaching Alicia on what to say when she calls the clerk back. And like they know this is a big opportunity because they're like giving like so many plays, right? Like do
Yep.
this, do that, do this. And Alicia's like super nervous. So Kalinda's like, why don't we just let Alicia handle this? Kalinda keeps Diane and Will on her cell phone. And Alicia is this is a great reminder of just like how green she still is as a lawyer because she calls the clerk back and is like, hey, I can't recall like which section I said like the addendum, the addendum is like, if you want to do an addendum, you have to get it here by 6 p.m. Like I am not gonna give you any more than that, but it's enough to give them a deadline. And this is where the title of the episode comes from, 9 hours. So they have 9 hours to figure out if they miss something or if there's an opportunity here to save Carter.
Yeah, like basically they call the clerk back trying to fish and to get some like info like, so what should we be filing an addendum about? Like we know what we need to file the addendum. I just want to make sure that you know what we
Right.
should
We're
be
on the
filing the
same
addendum
page,
about. So I just
right?
want to make sure we're both in the know here. So why don't you tell me what you think we should be filing an addendum about? And of course, this doesn't work. He's like, listen, like I already gave you like the heads up you need to file an addendum. I can't give you any more than that without like breaking some serious laws and boundaries here. So you figure it out. Get it to me by 6.
Yeah. She's like, well, we could talk later. You sound really busy. It's like, just stay by the phone. Like, it'll be fine. Back at the firm, a lot of people actually showed up to help for this case. The entire conference room is full of people. Julius is trying to get everyone's attention. Ladies and gentlemen, not working. Doesn't work until Will waltzes in and slides a box down the table.
Well, like, do you have to be such a drama queen all the time? Like,
Yes.
he's so like literally just flings a box across the table to get everyone's attention. Like, all right, like you could have just like raised your hand and yelled loud and Julius. You didn't need to. Who's gonna pick that up, Will? Are you gonna pick that
Yeah.
up, or are you gonna make one of the like underlings pick it up?
Yeah. You know which way it's gonna go. So he gets everybody. He's like, look, we've overlooked something or we're being pointed towards an opportunity. This case came from legal aid, so the legal aid people, I want you looking on it, looking if we overlook something. People with the firm, we're gonna look into the judge, and this is when Alicia pipes in over the phone. She's like, we only need to worry about 2 judges because the clerk said he needs the addendum by 6 p.m. So this narrows it down to, well, not yet. So they want to find out more about the clerk. The clerk's name is Jason Kerrigan, and he worked at the Innocence Project in 2008. Who else do we know worked at the Innocence Project in 2008?
Yeah,
Gary
Carrie.
Agos.
I worked at Innocent Projects in 2008. I'm surprised that Carrie's like, yeah, me. I worked there. I was trying to get innocent people off death row and back on the street. Unlike Lockhart, Gardner, and Bond, who are trying to support wife killers. All right, Carrie, we get it. You are morally superior. We understand.
This, I have to say, this episode is one of my favorite uses of Carrie in
Mm,
this like relationship between the two of them, or
yeah.
like the two entities. Carrie is giving his cousin a tour of Chicago universities, to which his cousin, is very, very forward in saying that she has a
Very
crush on him.
extremely. And I forgot to put her into the guest star
Oh, who is
notes.
she?
Melissa Benoist, who will go on to star in the show Supergirl for CW as the titular Supergirl. So in my
Oh.
world, it's like, oh my god, that's pre Supergirl Supergirl. So she's here. I feel like there's some stuff with Carrie's cousin on the cutting room floor because we didn't get her a lot, but what we got of her was interesting because, like you said, as we meet her, she's like, "Hey, I got such a big crush on you, Carrie. I know you're my first cousin." She's like, "But it's not even illegal. Like, it's fine. It'd be fine if we were to get together." And Carrie's like, "Whoa!" Like Carrie's like, "Listen, I just told your parents I would show you around some Chicago universities. Like stop trying to get me in trouble. I don't love teenagers. Like some
Oh
people
God.
on some good podcasts." Um, yeah, so I guess Carrie has been like conscripted into duty to show his cousin around Chicago colleges to pick a college.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, that was a thing that people would do. Like, we'd go on college tours. I'm sure they still happen now, but
Yeah,
it'd be like, you could
you could
go with
probably
your
do it.
cousin.
You could probably do it in virtual reality now. You could probably put on like one of those meta
Yeah.
headsets and like walk around the college campus instead of actually having to go there.
Kalinda calls Carrie while he's on this tour, and he is more than happy to take the call because of this uncomfortable conversation with his
Mhm.
cousin. And Kalinda's like, "Hey, do you know anything about like Jason Kerrigan?" And Carrie's like, "Yeah, he's a clerk on the Seventh Circuit." Yeah, but like, Innocent Project version of him is like, "You're not getting anything from me." Like, and Clint is like, this is Indiana death row. Like, your boss never has to find out if you're giving me anything. And he says, come back to the state's attorney where you can help us get people off the right way. And then he says, as good as you are at getting people off. I was like, excuse me.
Carrie, wow, that was very forward. I loved how Clint was like, "You didn't just say that, did you? Like you did not just say that nonsense to me."
I mean, like, he has these moments with Kalinda, but they have been a bit more frequent as of late.
Mhm.
Back at the Florex, Peter is gonna step into debate prep. Alicia's gonna be working on the appeal. The kids are there. Peter's like, "Should I call my mom to take care of the kids?" And Alicia's like, "No, we don't. We don't need that. That's okay."
Yeah, that's the last thing that we need. That's what
Yeah.
I believe what Alicia says.
Alicia does ask Peter, do you know anything about the Seventh Circuit judges? Like anything that I like would need to know about their views on the death penalty specifically?
It's like,
And
oh, Alicia, like how far we've come from the first season where you're just like, I refuse to use my husband, use my connections, blah blah. It's like, oh, hey Peter, so what information can you give me? Like, oh, okay, we come a long way.
yeah, he says that one of them definitely no, like don't even try. But this Glendon Judge Glendon, apparently has been going soft. But don't say you got this information from me. Like I still have to have people believe that I'm hard on the death penalty because I'm running for office. Whatever. There's a knock on the door. Lo and behold, who is it?
Jackie,
One and only Jackie, who forgot her keys. And
this is
the look on Alicia's face when
so
she
good.
opens the door is so good.
She's like, oh my god, I cannot believe this. First of all, Zach and Grace are, I'm gonna estimate like a 15 and 13. They do not
Well,
need.
Grace we learned is 14.
Oh, so yes, 14. So what, 16 or 14 probably. Like they don't need no freaking babysitter, but of course Jackie's here, of course, to take over as the matronly figure in this house for whatever reason. We don't even get a reason why she's there. She just wanted to show up, I guess, to hang out.
Well, unless I wonder, this is just again, this is my vivid imagination. I wonder if Eli, because he couldn't be there for whatever reason, was like, Jackie, go make sure that Peter like is dressed well for this debate because like I can't do this. So she just like wanted to be in the mix for this big day, I
Well, we know
think.
Jackie likes to poke her nose into whatever she can.
Yes. Yes. Diane and Will are on the phone. They're saying, "Oh my gosh, if it's Glendon, then our argument's too technical. We need to push for innocence." And Diane says, "Like, don't let legal aid run with this. I told them to push for innocence, and apparently, like, they fumbled." But then I'm like, Diane, did you not like read the thing that you sent? Like, I don't know. And Will uses the distraction of getting a lunch order downstairs for all the legal aid people for Blake to take some of the boxes away from legal aid.
This is so weird. It's
I don't
like
know why we needed this.
he and Blake are like running this like scheme to get Blake to get a box. I'm like, why did we need to have this scene in there? Because you could have just. I feel like Will and the firm have enough pull to be like, hey, I'm taking this box. Deal with it. Bye.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah. Peter's in debate prep with like Eli's right hand man, dude.
Lackey.
I forgot his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Moody, I think his name is something Moody.
Yeah. He's
Your
asking like,
third watch friend.
oh yeah, I'm like, I know him from somewhere. Um, so he's doing debate prep. He's asking like, what about the death penalty? And third watch guy is like, you are not changing your position on the death penalty. Like, you're going to be asked a bunch of questions about family. Like, just change the subject. Don't get quiet. Talk about things. Like, it's not a great debate prep, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, he's
Like,
basically kind of telling him like, don't fall for the trap
yeah,
of
yeah,
arguing about your family. Like you get crazy when family gets brought up. So like try to avoid getting crazy, getting heated about family when
yes,
this gets brought up.
yes. Back at the jail, Diane is calling Ruby, who is Carter's daughter, who hasn't talked to him in 10 years. And we forgot to mention that Carter Wright is played by Chado Coleman,
Mm, yes.
who we have seen in multiple places.
Yeah, very accomplished. The Wire. For me, a big Walking Dead fan. He was Tyrese on The Walking
Yeah,
Dead. Great
yeah.
character he played there. So he's been around the block for quite a while.
And I really do love what he did with this role. Like you could
Oh yeah,
really
definitely.
like feel his emotions coming through the screen. So Diane calls Ruby and is like, "Hey, Ruby, I know it's weird you haven't talked to your dad in like 10 years, but if you don't come, I think you're gonna regret it later." She does say something interesting. She says, "Whenever I've been," because Ruby asked Diane, like, "Do you think he's innocent?" And she's like, I can't tell you that. Like, but whenever I've been 100% certain about something, I've been proven wrong." And that,
Listen, we've seen Diane be wrong about some of her heroes in the
yes,
past, season and a half of TV. When she has complete faith in someone, they prove her to be wrong. So I guess Diane's saying like, listen, I can't I can't even trust my thoughts and my opinions 100% of the time. So I have no idea, but like she tells Ruby like, you will regret it later if you don't make the trip to at least see him or say goodbye to him in this moment.
yeah, like in 10 years, it's going to be even more painful than it is right now. You have 3 hours though, like see if you can make it. And she's like, I'm in Avon, Indiana. Um, I don't think I can make it. Diane's like, don't worry. I'm going to talk to the warden. Just like start moving, like start coming here. Don't worry about anything else. I'll take care of it. Back at the firm, Julius is reviewing the files. And this is where we get like a Blake adjacent exposition moment, but we are learning that Carter and his wife separated in the year 2000. A month later, their apartment burned down. The fire was deemed suspicious. They didn't really have anyone to like blame, but Carter had no alibi and had motive because of the separation. So he was basically charged with this. But there was a character by the name of Frank Gephardt who was in landscaping business with Carter up until 1998, and that's when their business dissolved. But Frank, so basically what they're going with now is Frank wanted Carter dead.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
so
he
he's the
burned
one who
down.
said he burned down the apartment, but didn't know that like Caroline had already kicked him out. So the Caroline dying was like basically a misaimed arrow.
That'd be a really big oops. If you like
Yeah, right?
you burned down somebody's apartment like and they weren't they had been kicked out, they'd be like, damn, surely done my background on that to know he wasn't even in the place I was trying to burn down to kill him.
Yeah. Diane goes to the warden to ask for extra time. It's like, hey, like this is a daughter who wants to see her father before he dies. Like, don't you have a heart? Like, have a heart, man. She's like, yeah, I could do that, but you have to help me get him on the grenade. Like, I do not want any struggle in the
Mm-hmm.
situation. Like, if I do this for you, you do this for me. They're interrupted by a call from the anesthesiologist, or anesthetist, not the anesthesiologist. You know,
Yeah,
the
I think
guy. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
the
that's
anesthetist.
anesthetist.
Yeah.
Yes, the anesthetist. Um, and it's like, we'll talk after this call. But Diane lingers and hovers over the secretary's shoulder. And I just have to say, do you remember that 2518? Do you remember those privacy screens that used to be like you could put on a computer screen so that people couldn't see what you were
Are you talking about
typing?
you're not talking about like the actual borders that you would like put like when people were
No,
taking a test.
it
It's
was
something
like
for
a
a computer
dark
screen.
screen. It was like
Yeah, so
that
you
would
can't see
be
from
in
the
front of your
side.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. This really would have helped that lady in this situation
I,
because Diane
Dan
is
was Diane's just chilling. She's like, let me see what they talk about, because lady is transcripting the conversation that the warden is having in
Yes.
his office, and like through this, Diane sees that they're running out of one of the drugs they use to put people to sleep, and it's like, oh, interesting, I 2518. Well, like this episode was a whole interesting like look into the death penalty
Yes.
and how like
Yes.
they go about that, and like to have this drug where it's like, oh damn, it was 3 days out of date. Like you weren't checking up on that. Like I'm pretty sure you had this date circled on the calendar for months, maybe even years. You didn't think to check the due dates, the expiration dates, all your drugs.
Well, especially because later in the episode, someone mentions like, this is a case that has been appealed multiple times and been
Mhm.
denied. Like, it's not like it was a quiet conversation. Like, it never should be on death row. Like, I think people are very aware of when things are happening, to your point. So, yeah, it was kind of an interesting, like,
Yeah.
huh, okay. Um, but the reasoning here that they give on the show, I don't know if like it happened in real life, is that executions like were happening so infrequently
Mhm.
that there wasn't time like to replenish um their supply.
But you would think we would look
So
at something and be like, "Oh, this is gonna expire in a couple months. You think we should re-up on this?" Like, yeah, maybe. Instead of being like the day of the execution, be like, "Oh, damn, you know what? This expired 3 days ago." Like, you should probably be more up on it than that.
yeah, there are some things like printer paper. When I was printing a lot, I would always forget to buy like extra printer paper, and then I'd like go to print and then I'd be like, oh, no printer paper.
Yeah, it's like
Kind of, yeah.
going to your refrigerator in the morning, being like, "Oh, damn, this milk is just expired the other day. What am I gonna do?" It's as if they treat it with that amount of seriousness.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But the Will's gonna head to court and ask for a delay because you're not following the protocol that is here. If you're gonna try to not use this drug, if you're gonna try to do something else, like this is not the
Yeah,
humane
because they want
way
to
that we've decided to do
Yeah, they
this in the
want to
world.
switch. They want to switch the drugs, and for whatever reason, I don't know what the argument necessarily is to switch one from one drug to the other, and how that is cruel and unusual. I don't know what that argument would be, because I feel like you got one drug to switch out for another. I don't see a problem with that, but I think they see a loophole they can use. Like, this is how
Yeah,
they said they were going to do it, so this is the way they need to
exactly.
do it. Yeah,
Exactly. Meanwhile, Carrie is still on the college tour, gets a phone call from Barry Scheck. Schneck? Schneck.
check,
Schneck? Scheck.
check. Mhm.
Barry Scheck. Okay. Did you know this dude was a real dude?
After the whole Vernon Jordan of it all, I was like, this feels like a Vernon Jordan type of thing. So I did look
Yeah.
up Barry Sheck, and he is, I think, the person that's like in charge of like making the Innocence Project a thing.
Yes. And he also was on the OJ defense team
Yes. Yeah.
randomly. So he calls Carrie, and Carrie's like, yeah, okay, buddy, old pal. Like, what do you got for me? Like, it's like,
Yeah. He just
and
doesn't believe
Barry,
this is the actual Barry Sheck. he,
yeah.
he thinks someone's pranking him.
like, yeah, I got tickets to the execution. You want one? You can come with me, which is like something you would not say to the founder of the Innocence Project,
Yeah,
like
for
at
sure.
all. And so Barry's like, um, okay, let's try this again. Lockhart Gardner needs your help. And I thought, due to your internship with my organization, the Innocence Project, and your relationship or my relationship with your father, you would
Mm.
consider helping out.
This like puts in a little like interesting nugget. Like, like who is Carrie's father? I feel like we've heard about Carrie's father before. And it's like
Yes.
I don't honestly don't remember if we meet Carrie's father or hear more about Carrie's father. I would assume so, since they're putting in these little drops of information that we're eventually going to meet Carrie's father and find out that he's probably like some big deal. I honestly don't remember, but I'm looking forward to finding out that information.
Yes. Uh so Kira's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Sheck. Like, I hear you. I will go help out. And the way that Carrie re-enters Lockhart
Oh my
Gardner,
gosh.
so good.
The prodigal
There's
son
like
has returned. He's like,
there's a
Lena,
lean.
yeah. He has a good
There's a lean. He
elevator.
passes Julius and he's like, what? What do you need?
Like,
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 I'm
like the
here.
cool guy has come back to his old stomping grounds. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? Like, what do you got for me? As if Carrie hasn't been back here since he's left. Like, Carrie's been back multiple times. And on a few of those occasions, we've handed him his ass. So it's not like this is
Yes.
his first time setting foot back in the law, but now he knows he has an upper hand here. Finally, I'm here to help you because you need me, and that's really the kind of swagger he's walking in with, like, hey, like I'm, like, I'm here to help you guys. Like, you really need me, so I'm here to help. Like, because you guys can't do anything on your own. You need me, so I'm here to help you. Like, all right, Carrie, we get it. Big deal.
Carrie's gonna carry no
Carrie's gonna
matter
carry.
the situation.
Carrie's gonna
Um,
carry.
Meanwhile, back at home, Shannon is teaching Grace how to pray. Like, and it's like so like it very much reminds me of like the manifestation trend that's happening right now because like Shannon's like, it doesn't matter if you believe, you just like put your hands together and you say these things. And Grace is like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to do this. And then all of a sudden, like, Shannon's like, okay, let me try. Oh, please help with the execution. And Grace is like, of Carter Wright, of Carter.
Yeah.
It's like, and my dad's debate. What about my dad's debate?
Yeah, Grace is like, Grace is like, I don't believe that mumbo jumbo, that nonsense. And then Shannon, so she's like, yeah. And also, can you throw in the thing about my dad's debate too? Like, just in case this works, I don't think it will work, but just in case it works, like, throw my dad's thing in there too. Like, oh my god, this really was kind of like a. I want to keep like the parallel to like drugs.
Yes.
It's just like, okay, like this is drugs. And Grace is like, ooh, I don't know if I should be doing that. My mom said to stay away from religion. I don't think I should. I don't think I should take part. Like, I don't think this is for me. My mom would be pissed if she found out I was praying. Like, God.
It's so weird. It's just, but it does remind me of the like, you want more, like the Instagram like coaches, like you want more money, just manifest it. Like, just do it. Like, it's fine. Like, it'll happen. There's no like systemic things like that are in the way or that would have to change to have that happen. 2518. But like, yes, not that I have feelings about this. But anywho, okay, Blake. Blake is taking information from that box that he found, tries to find Gephardt's ex-wife, who was Carter's former landscaping partner,
Yeah,
and finds out that
Will did set Blake on this, and interesting enough, Will was like, "Don't go in hard." Like,
yeah,
25,
and Blake
18.
was like, okay,
Yeah, because
okay.
Will knows Blake's modus operandi at this point. Like, hey, don't like go in, like don't go into this hard. Like, I don't want anybody roughed up. Like, just talk, go talk. I don't need anybody beat up this time.
And this is a moment where I did think that Blake was Carrie. Like for like the way that he approached, I was like, "Oh, this is Blake." Okay, we did find out that Carter poached Frank's clients, and Frank never forgave him. But the night of the arson or of the murder, um, he was with his ex-wife at the movies, so he has an alibi. So Frank didn't have anything really to do with the situation.
It again left me being like, why did this whole Frank Gephardt thing need to happen? Because it really amounted to a whole bunch of nothing. Like, do
Yeah,
we just need to have Blake do something in the episode? Like,
I
we need to give Blake something. So like, let's give him this thing that will amount to absolutely nothing.
and show that he can like get information without injuring people.
Yes.
So Carrie is on the phone with Will at the law firm and he's like, okay, Will, like before anything happens, I'm here for this and nothing else. And I was like, yeah, of course,
Like,
obviously.
yeah,
Like,
we didn't think you're here for anything else, Carrie. Like, it's not always about you, bro. Like, we don't care.
it's okay. So he talks about how the clerk that he knew at the Innocence Project wrote a paper about flawed science in government cases, but it was never printed by Harvard. So maybe we could get a copy of that. That's literally all Carrie did this entire time.
Was like, you think you can get me a copy? He's like, yeah, I think I can get you a copy. Like he's in the room with his cousin, like, and Julius, I think. And he looks over at his cousin, he's like, yeah, I think I can do that. As if Carrie's just like the biggest big shot in the world. He's like, yeah, I'm Carrie. I can do that. All right, man. Relax.
Like there was like this whole thing about Carrie coming back in to help in the situation. He literally, this was it. This is like all we saw him do.
Yeah, but I mean, but later, we see Carrie leaving. Carrie and Will have like a moment, and I
They
think
do.
this is like, I think this is supposed to be like the little itty bitty
Reconciliation.
bit of thawing of the relationship where maybe there's a shot for Carrie to come back into this world at some point. This is like the start of it. Like, he and
Yeah.
Will have like a nice moment. It's like, okay, like, we can be cool at some point later down the line. Maybe.
While this conversation is happening, Alicia and Kalinda are on the phone also with Will, and Will's like, "Hey, do you know what this is about?" And of course, they know exactly what this is about. This is about arson science that has changed since since the
Yeah,
situation.
Will. Arson science, duh.
Obviously.
You ever heard about arson science, Will? You dummy. Okay.
So, Will's like, "Go find this dude and see if his story has changed." So, Kalinda and Alicia will be working on that. Meanwhile, Diane is waiting with Carter to see if Ruby is going to show up at the jail. And Diane is doing her best to protect Carter from like any emotions, really, which I don't know how you can do when this man is about to die in his mind. Um, and he says to her, like, "I need you to talk to me like I'm an adult." And she's like, "Okay." Like, she might not get here in time. Also, we are putting it in a they she tells him about the drug situation. We're working with the Seventh Court. I don't want to get your hopes up. And he says, "Tell me everything and I will deal with my disappointment."
Yeah.
High emotional IQ on this man. Like, I was
Very.
like, way to go. Way to go. Will's doing his best Will impression in court, trying to argue for this delay. He's bringing like all of the riz and all of the charp. The judge is like, "I don't have time for this. Like, I get it. Like, I don't need this."
Yeah, we don't have time for your theatrics, Will,
Yeah,
because
like,
Will's like acting indignant. He's like, "How dare they?" Like, no. Just work it plain, state the facts. I don't. This is a Saturday. I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I don't have time for your bullshit. Just give me the facts. Like, we'll be done.
right,
We'll be done.
right. And his argument is that switching the drugs is cruel and unusual punishment, which is the Eighth Amendment of the United States. Can't really like go against that. And the guy on the prosecution side is so young. He doesn't even stand up when the judge is like addressing him. The judge has to tell him to stand up. But he is saying that like this drug is made by a publicly traded company, and that's why like this is backlogged because they're the only people that make this drug. And so this is it. The judge is like, "Okay, cool story, but like if you cannot acquire this drug by the time the execution is supposed to happen, this execution will not happen until you have the drug in hand." So they bought themselves some more time, but now we've got two clocks going. We've got the Save Carter clock, and then we've got the clock on the warden who's like trying to find this drug. So Kalinda and Alicia are working to track down the arson expert. We find out he's getting on a plane to Florida. But then there's this friend moment conversation between the two of them. And Alicia, I mean, Kalinda just like is so direct. It's like, "You've been different lately." Like, okay. And Alicia's reaction is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need some beer. I'm gonna go, I'll be right back. There's a lot going on."
He's like, "Girl, I got some tea for you. Like, but let me go get drunk first while we're working."
And as she's walking through her house with these beers in the middle of the day on a Saturday, she comes across like the conversation that Jackie is having with Eli's right hand man, Mr. Third Watch, about like what tie Peter should wear. She solves that problem. She's like, "Here, it's
Mhm.
this one." Meanwhile, then Shannon shouts out to her as she's walking back, "I'm praying for you." Like, it's just
Brother.
so random. And Clint like, "Is this will or work?" And Alicia doesn't really answer. She's just like, "I think
Mm-mm.
life is playing tricks on me. I'm trying not to take it seriously, but what does Blake have on you?"
Yeah, I
And
thought this was like a Alicia spill your guts moment. This turned into a more of a like Kalinda, you spill your guts moment.
yeah. Yeah, it was weird because she said Kalinda does like get pretty vulnerable here and say like, "I didn't like my life before, so I changed it." And Blake is like using what my life was before against me. But I want to say to Kalinda, it was in this lifetime where you picked up a baseball bat and like
Right.
went through his
It's like, how is this life better than the last life? If this
I,
is your life now, what was your life like before? And so this makes sense because earlier in the season, Blake was calling Kalinda Leela.
yeah.
So I'm guessing that Leela is her, original name before she changed it. So that makes sense. So that's an interesting little twist in this plot line.
Yes. Yeah. They find out they're interrupted. This friend moment is interrupted by a phone call from the arson expert's secretary who said he made it on the plane to Florida, but he has to change planes at O'Hare. So there's your opportunity if you want to go.
2518. Behind the scenes of this podcast, Marissa has written in her notes, change planes in ORD. Like, I'm assuming that is the
Yes.
airport code for O'Hare in Chicago. Okay, Marissa,
Yes.
we get it. You live in Chicago. You've taken
Oh
planes
my
out of Chicago. You
gosh.
know the airport code for Chicago Airport. We get it.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I live in Chicago. And yes, I take planes out of Chicago because I'm fortunate enough to have two airports by me. So, yes, I
Ooh,
do need to know the airplane code or the airport codes because ORD is O'Hare and MDW is Midway. And so, therefore, I need to know where I'm going and what I'm doing. So,
changes
yes,
planes.
Jason.
Changes planes in ORD. Ooh.
Whatever.
Official. And
I
that's
don't
just for
want to
me and
fight
you.
O'Hare.
That's just for me and you. That was your way to stunt on me. Like, I know the airport code, Jason. Just let
I
you
didn't even
know.
think about it. I didn't. I was like, I don't want to write O'Hare, so it's ORD. I don't even know why it's ORD, but
I
it
have
is
no idea.
ORD. But
2518
anywho,
over. 2518 over.
okay. Thanks, Jason. Um, as Kalinda's leaving, Zach is like, "Hi,
Hi. I was like,
hi."
bye. And the look on Kalinda's face as she's leaving, like, this little boy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. Meanwhile, Ruby arrives at the jail. Unfortunately, it is 3:20, and the once sympathetic warden is no longer sympathetic because of the information that Diane took from his call earlier. And we get this whole like really fast but interesting like exchange. Like, okay, you can't see him, but then the officer's like, "Stay right here. I'll go get him for you."
Yeah, like
Which,
we're gonna be bringing him by this like space, or as we take him to his
yeah,
death, so you can see him then. I did like Diane's like emotion after the warden tells her, like,
yeah,
yeah, because you were trying to f with my execution, I'm not gonna let her see him, like, because number one, you're late anyway, so now I'm gonna be petty and I'm gonna say that he can't see her because you were trying to f with me and the execution. Diane's like, no, don't do this because of me. Like, don't take it
it
out on
was
her.
very like she pulled out all the Broadway theater.
This
Like it was so
I
like
feel
that's
like
my fault.
Yeah, I feel like Emmy submissions were due at this
Yeah.
point because we got the Diane moment. We're gonna have a Alicia moment later. That's like an a
Yes.
submission for an Emmy nomination. Like, it's so interesting. Don't take it out on her because of me. Okay,
It was it was very emotional. It was. The warden with his clock going calls another warden and it's like, "Hey, do you have any of this drug? I'm gonna kind of need it." I don't know why this wasn't his first call, but it wasn't. And this other warden's like, "Sorry, daughter of mine, we can't go camping because I need to go bring this drug to Indiana."
Daddy's got to go make sure a man dies. So
Yeah,
sorry, baby, we can't go camping today. I gotta go kill a man. Whoa!
next week.
I was like, okay.
Well, and I think about this like because 2518, other shows that deal with jail and wardens and things like that.
Mhm.
I think the rules are really important. Like I don't know if I could psychologically deal with my job if I didn't
Yeah,
say it says on the paper that I'm supposed to do this at this time. So that is what I'm going to do. And
move heaven and earth to try and make it happen.
yeah, exactly. Cause like it's gotta be a tough gig. Um okay, so Kalinda's arrived at the airport. I do just want to say, given my knowledge of O'Hare, this was not Terminal 1, Terminal 2, or really Terminal 3.
Oh my
I
god, you
think
know
it
all the
was
terminals too?
in, yeah, I think it was in the international terminal. I'm not sure. It did not look like, or there's been so much change to O'Hare that did not recognize it. But anywho, um, she
Or it
goes
was
through
just a studio that's
security.
not an actual airport.
No, Jason, no, everything is real. Um, she goes through TSA and she does get the like racial profiling treatment
Yeah,
through
yeah.
TSA.
It's good old. It's 2010. She's of Middle Eastern descent. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
She gets pulled over.
Yeah.
She gets pulled to the side to have a individual search done. Of course.
Yes. Yes. She does find the guy at the gate who is our character actor, Roger Rees, who I just put in my notes as arson expert because I do not know his name. But
Dr. Grossman. Yeah, that's
sure. Yeah, Dr. Grossman. I know him from West Wing and Cheers and one episode of My So-Called Life. He played a substitute teacher. It changed everyone's life.
of course.
But he has been around for a while. But she finds him at the gate and basically like just walks up to him and is like, "Hey, what about this? Like
She ain't
this
playing.
could yeah, this is what it is. This could be a knob and tube wiring burn off. It doesn't have to be an arson." And he's like, "Are you in the business? Like, how do you know this?" And um she's like, "You know what I'm saying is right." And he says, "No, I know what you're saying is possible, and that's all. And that's all you really need. You really just need
Yeah,
what's
reasonable doubt.
possible."
Kalinda's
And
like, he tries to blow Kalinda off multiple times. She's like, "No, sir. This is what you must do." She's like, "No, sir." Multiple times, like, "Oh, okay." Kalinda's being very forceful. She's like,
well,
she takes his ticket away from him. Like, "No, you're not getting
yes.
on this plane." Like, I'm like, excuse me. I know you're Kalinda, but security, why are you letting this woman take this man's ticket away?
And we just had a scene where she was racially profiled going through TSA. You're telling me that a woman of Indian descent could stand in front of a white man at the ticket booth and take their ticket, and there would not be any security called in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, she's standing right next to the gate. You don't think anybody was like, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" She's like,
Oh
"No,
man.
I am Kalinda, and I'm not for play. Like, you're gonna write this affidavit
Well,
for me."
yeah, you're gonna write that. And I like what she said. She's like, I know, this is the right thing to do. I'm just gonna give you the time to get there. Like,
Yeah, and he gets there apparently.
yeah. Meanwhile, the debate is starting. Of course, Jackie doesn't know how to record. Can we talk about
Uh,
2518?
yeah,
Can we talk about
2018.
this moment in human history called recording something on a VHS tape in a VCR?
I mean, it was
Like,
probably it might have been a TiVo at this time, at this
it
moment in
might
time.
have. That's true. It might have. But
But
I
she's
just
like, "I'm
remember,
trying to program and hit record and hit the," and Zach's like, "All right, Grandma, I got it. Let me do it." And listen, we
but
are
you had to click play and record at the same
yeah,
time.
we are recording this very shortly after Christmas, and
Yes.
listen, I spent time with family over the holiday break, and I cannot tell you how many things I had to fix and I had to program and I had to teach people how to do as I was with
Yeah.
family this holiday season. So I definitely understand the Zach of like, "I got it, Grandma, let me do it." Like, you don't know what you're doing, old lady.
And she's so excited. Like she's trying to gather everyone into the living room. So she goes to try to find Grace. And Grace is like with Shannon, and Shannon is showing Grace like how to put her hands together to pray.
And she might have well has been showing her how to light up a crack pipe. That's the look that Jackie is giving. Like, oh my, are
Which is
they
like surprising though, from
praying?
but I mean, Jackie is like all about the God, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so like
interesting. Yeah.
it is an interesting reaction of like, oh, and that's why so she leaves them alone. Alicia calls Will to check in, see how things are going. Check in more ways than one.
Mhm.
Because she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's like, "Oh, he got to see his daughter. Okay, that's something. Cool, great. How are you doing, Will?" He's like, "I hate being powerless." I can't. I love Will. I love him so much. But when he gets like this, he's like, "I hate being powerless." It's
Mm,
like, okay,
poor white
okay.
man doesn't have all the control of the
Yes.
world. I'm sure Alicia in her mind is thinking, "You had plenty of power in my dreams last night, Will. You had plenty of power in my dreams, baby. Don't you worry about power there."
And she pulls the whole like, "Hey, can we talk?" He's like, "Yeah, we can talk anytime." She's like, "No, we need a moment.
We need a talk. We gotta have like
We,
a moment. Capital
yeah."
M. To talk
And
about missing voicemails and about what were in those missing voicemails. I don't know. Do you think Alicia's like calling her like wireless provider, like, "Hey, I think I missed a voicemail. Or is there any way like the call dropped, or were you having network issues at the time? I think I was supposed to get a voicemail and it didn't come through."
like, I'm a lawyer. I don't want to get a subpoena for this, but I could.
Yeah.
And therefore, I just really love it if you could give me my voicemail back. Yeah, probably. But also then they are interrupted by Misa who has to use the bathroom. This whole time has gone. Everything I know it's a very busy day, but they could have called someone to take care of this bathroom situation.
There's a lot of people there in their house. Like, no one has any plumbing experience. No one's like,
Yeah,
let me take a look at it." Peter's
I
like,
guess
"No,
there's
no."
like Like no YouTube also. Like
Right, exactly. No tutorials out there you can look at to try to unclog a toilet. No one has a plunger around. I don't know. Mr. Third Watch looks like he could be a plumber, so I don't know why they didn't have him
yeah,
go in there look at it.
yeah, exactly. He got a bunch of French toast. The least you could do is unclog the toilet. Um at this point, Kalinda has obtained the affidavit. The firm is working on the addendum, and Alicia's going to be working on the preamble. Things are moving in the right direction. This is when we get the Carrie Will moment of Carrie leaving the firm. I thought it was going to be a bit bigger, but I do think you're right. It's like starting to thaw
Yeah, because
between the two of them.
yeah, Will's like, so you taking off? And Kay's like, yeah, unless you got some force needs sweeping. and Will like gives him a little chuckle and it's like a little look like, oh, I miss you, Carrie. I miss you too, Will. I miss you too. Maybe we'll get back together at some point down the line,
Do you think
you know.
Carrie's having Will dreams too?
Oh my god. Do you think Carrie's having Will and Alicia dreams?
Oh,
Oh, I
maybe.
so many movies being made in my mind right now, Marissa. You have no idea what this is like. I'm seeing
I
so
know.
much in my
I know.
imagination.
I know. I know. I know.
So if I was to tell you right now, Marissa,
Uh-huh.
picture Carrie in your mind.
Uh-huh.
You can't do that.
I
Like you
can't do it.
there's just nothing.
No, like there's nothing. I just have like the knowing of Carrie.
You have memory, you don't have imagination. Like
Correct. Correct.
wow. That's so
I
sad.
know.
I feel so
It
bad
it
for you.
is. Thank you. I appreciate it. My family's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, no, it's like a real thing.
No, because I have a very like active imagination. I imagine stuff all the time. Like you say anything, and I'm imagining something. So I feel so bad for you. Like this is a good time to remind our listeners. You too
Oh
can
my god.
give the gift of imagination to the Chicago woman. If you call 1-800 Garza, you can make your donation
Oh,
today.
there are other I mean, I appreciate it, but also there's things happening in the
No,
world. So
this is the most important thing happening in the world today. We need to give this woman an imagination. There are trials out there
I
trying to give
have
people imaginations.
imagination. I really think that the only way that I might no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
Uh-oh. 2518, say it. Say it.
2518. I have heard people who have aphantasia are able to see things when using psilocybin.
Oh snap! We know you love drugs too.
God.
You love the drug trade as well. This is great.
Yeah, I need to call Lamont Bishop. Help me out
Yeah, there
there.
you go.
Anyway, okay. Scary left the firm. It is time for the debate. We get this little moment, like everyone's kind of like watching in their own areas, but we do get to see this moment where Peter is asked about his family. And he's like, I'm here to talk about policy. And the guy's like, that's not fair. You're a family man. Has your wife forgiven you for your infidelity? And Peter goes quiet, which was talked about earlier in this episode as a signal that he is getting mad. And he is supposed to be changing the subject, but he kind of doubles down here and says, "My marriage is none of your fucking business."
Whoa, Marissa.
It's a line. It's a
Whoa.
line. It's a line.
They didn't say the F word in the show.
That's true.
They very cleverly were able to hide it in the show. They put the bar over Peter's lips so you couldn't see what he was mouthing.
Yeah.
Something was going off in the house when he said it on TV, so you couldn't hear what he said. But you just came right out with it. I was going to say 2518. Marissa wrote the F word in our notes, and I was not expecting you to say it, but you said it. I'm like, oh, whoa, this is a family podcast, Marissa. You can't be saying words like that. Oh my
Well,
God.
I also edited the podcast, so we'll see if I bleep it out.
Marissa, verklempt, clutching my pearls.
He gets quiet, and the moderator asks, "Like, are you aware of what you just said?" He's like, "Yes, I am." Alicia gives a little smile, a little smirk.
Mm-hmm.
Kalinda
Not
arrives back.
enough. Not enough for a gold star this episode. I'm assuming.
No,
Right, not enough. Okay, I didn't think so.
no,
Yeah, I didn't think
no.
so. I just wanted to check. I just wanted to get the status of the
Thank
stars.
you, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about it, but no,
Nah, this isn't enough. This isn't enough.
it's like bare minimum
Yeah.
territory. Kalinda arrives back at Alicia's, to which Zach greets her at the door saying, "My dad swore on TV." Kalinda's like, "Oh,
Linda comes
okay."
in, she's like, "Yes, I'm here. I know you don't have to say. You have to ogle over me. I get it. I'm here. Yeah, it's me. I'm hot. I get it."
At this point, they're like, okay, like we gotta wait to see what the judge has to say. Like, Alicia, you can go back to your life. And Alicia's like, no, this is my life. At this very convenient moment, Kerrigan, the clerk from the seventh judge calls, or seventh district
Circuit
circuit court, yes, calls and says, hey, I got the judge on the line. He has a question for you. And Alicia, again, super nervous, is like fumbling a lot of different answers, like asking, saying, I'm just a second year associate. I don't know if you should be talking to me. And I love that Kalinda is like, no, this is like you are
this is
it.
your moment, girl. This is you. You are the moment. You are the it girl right now. It's all up to you. You can do this. Cheerleader type.
And yeah, and it gets to a point where the judge is like, you know what I'm going to ask you, right? And
I wish you had just totally fumbled it. Like, what's for dinner tonight? I don't know. Like, what are you gonna ask me?
well, he's asking like, why should I trust this doctor if he, changed his mind so easily? And this is where we get the Alicia Emmy moment of the episode, because she's like, so much of my life is between right and wrong, and this has to be right. He is innocent. This has to be right.
If you're gonna do this to this man, it has to be right. She gets the emotions going. She's got she's her voice is oculating. She's like, if you're gonna do this, it has to be right. She like looks.
And we
She
get
looks
the
away. She looks away from Kalinda. Like, I don't want Kalinda to see me crying.
yeah. She's like, no, no, no.
Oh man, it's like, yeah, this is the submission right here for the Emmy noms. This is what you send in.
And so the judge is like, okay, cool, thanks, bye. Though we do see that the result of that conversation, though, is the warden going in to tell Carter that there's been a stand as executed. Well, basically, he just says, we've got the paperwork from the court.
And
He
Carter
doesn't
knows what that
say,
means.
yeah, he
He's like,
doesn't
oh
say
yeah,
it out loud. Yeah. Ruby comes in, gives him a hug. There's a moment there. Alicia sees on the news that this stay of execution has been granted. She's like, oh, what a day. What a job well done. So great. And so she goes out into her family and she sees like Nisa's there. She's like, hi, I'm Nisa. I'm Zach's study partner. It's like,
she's like,
okay.
okay, so
Okay. I want to be an international lawyer. Okay, great. And Zach's like, did you see Dad swore on TV?
oh my god,
Okay.
Zach, give it a rest, my guy.
But then he's like, Mom, I'm going to get an earring. And I love Alicia's just like pure dismissal and laugh at the situation.
An earring on a boy? What? No way. Get on a boy. You're a boy, Zach. Boys don't have earrings. Okay. Check
Yeah,
your
but
genitals. You know, boys don't get earrings. Imagine a boy having an earring.
I don't know if that is it or if it's just that, like, does Zach, like, strike you as a person who would have an earring?
I don't know. I mean, this is continuity from last episode where like Nisa starts a
Yes.
conversation about him having an earring, and like now he's broaching it to mom. Mom's like, just like, you're a boy. Boys don't have earrings. Zach, get lost. Oh god, so funny.
It was really
Like,
funny.
oh,
It's
the
just like,
2010 of it all.
where's Grace? Oh, she's in her room. I can't with this, Jason. I
Oh my god,
can't. I
this was
can't.
this was my just sincere laugh out loud moment where Alicia goes in to check on Grace and Grace is praying. Grace might as well have been snorting coke, like with the
Okay.
reaction that Alicia gives. Like, oh my god, what is she doing?
Well, and she has moved. Okay, the first time she saw Shannon pray, Shannon was just sitting on her windowsill. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there praying. Second time, it's just sitting on her bed. Grace is now full on kneeling in front of her bed, saying prayers like in the, I don't know, traditional way. I don't know, like how you see
I love the
people
air
like.
quotes. I don't know. They're
I
traditional.
don't know. I don't know what to call it, but I was like, wow, you have really advanced in your prayer knowledge,
A weekend with
in this one
Shannon.
day.
A weekend with Shannon has just corrupted Grace to the max. She's now a religious zealot. She's now praying, and Alicia and Jackie and everyone's worried about her. We got to get this girl help. She's found religion. Oh my god!
It's
Literally.
like, did you ever play the game Civilization?
No, I'm not a nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd, but
Okay.
not.
Yeah. Okay. In the game, you like basically take over. It's like Risk, but you can play as a solo player. Anywho, but you can establish a religion, and it's really interesting to like see the religion like spread really fast, like a virus across the entire thing. And it so reminds me of the situation because it's like, okay, we just had like the one person, Shannon was the one person who came in,
Uh,
and then it was like this whole thing that's starting now. So yes, Grace prays now, and
well, I mean, they haven't. I wonder if we're going to touch on this like down the line. But I mean, listen, Peter is finding religion. Grace is
yep.
not finding religion. That's something they're going to bond over. It's going to be weird in the house with two people having religion and two people not having religion? I don't know, but
Well, and then
it's
Jackie.
just the reaction to the religion of it all. Of like, oh my god, they're praying to God. That's a oh my. We have to get this girl some help. She's found Jesus.
I was very fortunate that like my parent I was raised Catholic, but I was like I had friends that weren't Catholic, and so I was able to like go like I went to Jehovah's Witness like Kingdom Hall, and I went to Mormon
Whoa.
stuff too, like with my college roommate. And I was just like they were just like, okay, like I'm glad you're like exploring. Um but I mean it never went any further than that. But
Yeah, I mean,
there is a time like when you're a teenager too, you're like, what is life? What is the world? What I don't feel like I have control over anything. So it is like a time where if you're introduced to something like this, you could be like, oh, okay.
yeah, 2518. My mother is a Christian of all Christians. Goes to a Baptist church, and that was that was it. When
That
I was
was
growing
it.
up, that was it. That was the only way to be. Now that I am a big boy age, I have my own thoughts and my own views of things that don't necessarily align with her and her views, but that's a big 2518 podcast I'll get into right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, just to see how what the reaction is to different religion that seemingly the Floricks are pretty agnostic. I would say in the main household, and to see the reaction to Grace, fighting and being curious about religion was very very interesting and like very outsized. I thought, it really just made me chuckle each time someone was like shockingly looking at Grace finding religion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't remember much about where it goes, but I know it doesn't disappear. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that
for sure.
much.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where we're going to take it and how it's going to manifest itself. Pun not
Mm,
intended.
mm.
Yeah, that was our episode. Marissa, do you want to
Yeah.
clue the peeps in on where they can find you and what you're talking about, what you're up to?
Sure thing. Hey peeps, you can find me on Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky at It's Me Marissa G. Usually I have something going on. I'm usually talking about it there. Otherwise, I'm just here talking about all of this stuff with you, Jason. We've had
Yeah,
quite a number of 2518s lately. So
yep.
um yeah, yeah, continuing at this. And I think Elspeth should be back by now.
Yeah,
So yeah.
one step closer to Elsbeth coming back from its winter break. So we'll be back on that tip pretty soon, if not already. We're not positive of
We
when
don't
this
know.
comes out and when Elsbeth
Yeah.
comes back and all that good stuff. But we'll be back talking about Elsbeth when it comes back. So check back here when Elsbeth comes back, and we'll be talking about it. If you want to find me and what I'm up to, you can always find me on the Blue Sky JR33D. You can find me podcasting about the show Marry Your First Sight on my podcast Perfect Match with Asia Welch. I'm always there. You don't even need to watch the show to enjoy the conversation about the show. I think probably some people would say that you could do the same here with Good Wife and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where you can find me. It's where you can find Marissa. Until next week, stay good.